going to share a poem that I wrote, and then I'm going to reflect on the poem. The poem is called Sometimes I Remember, and I'm laughing to myself, or I was just before this, because I literally don't remember if I have shared the poem on the podcast or not yet. So it is, if I have shared it before, then maybe it will hit in a different way this time. I know for me, it hits in a different way every time I go back and reread it. And it's kind of like that with books that I've read. You can read the same book 2 times and it will hit you differently the second time. So the poem is called Sometimes I Remember. Life is passing by. I often forget. Sometimes I remember. People pass. Everything passes. This I forget. Sometimes I remember. Birds dance and sing on aging branches. Children speak without filter. Winter fades, and lilies claim the seasoned land. I forget all of this. I forget that there are no problems, that we are all stardust and compost. Sometimes I remember to dance with my wife in the kitchen, to tell her that I love her, to tell the people who mean something to me that they mean something to me. Sometimes I remember. To me, it's a reminder. The poem is a reminder to myself. It's like when I write a note to myself on a Post-it, take out the garbage, or remember to bring umbrella to your in-laws, or remember to order a gift for Father's Day, whatever. Just a reminder. To me, the poem is a reminder. It's a reminder to stop, I guess. I wrote, birds dance and sing on aging branches. It's pretty powerful what I can feel when I stop and pay attention to that. Birds dance and sing on aging branches. What does that mean? It means the birds are just being. When I say dance, I mean I see the birds out in puddles of water in the backyard, just flapping their wings, taking a bath. They're just doing. If they feel they need a bath, they take a bath. If they feel they need to eat, they stop and eat. Sometimes they don't even stop to go to the bathroom. They just go. And they go all over my patio furniture. And I say birds dance and sing on aging branches. So all the while, the birds are aging. The branches that they're sitting on are aging. The person, me, that is watching is aging. It's all, the earth is spinning. Life is happening. think about the Tibetan book of living and dying. It's only when we can have an intimate understanding that we are dying that we can really start to live. Or at least that's the message I took from what I read of this book. So just in the branches, you see the branches aging, the bark maybe over time crumbling and falling off. It's a reminder that the tree is aging. And when we look at the tree, or when I do, I remember that I am aging too. And it's a reminder for me to be here, that it is fleeting. Life is fleeting. The life of the tree is impermanent. My own life is impermanent. And that is empowering, because in seeing that, I live more deeply in the moment. Because I know that the tree is fleeting and that my own life is fleeting, I appreciate it more. And I referenced the birds. There's this one bluebird that I've spoken about in an episode before that, I do remember. He comes and stands on the same branch sometimes. And sometimes I'm in the right spot in the kitchen where I can see him. But he doesn't stay long. Maybe a few seconds. He's there and he's gone. So, impermanent. And because it's fleeting, it's beautiful. I think it's what makes a sunset beautiful. It's going away. That is the nature of it. We're watching it go away. Sometimes I forget this. The poem is a reminder to me it is a reminder that sometimes I see and sometimes I don't, and that's okay. I wrote about dancing with my wife in the kitchen, telling her I love her. Sometimes we might argue about something stupid, just like anybody might. And sometimes there's just love, and we dance together. And when we are dancing together, and it's just love, I can think back at maybe something we were arguing about, like how the dishwasher was loaded, or something like that, and see that it really wasn't a problem. It came from, a lot of times, my desire to control, but also, her own filters, her own desires. But that it was just impulse. It was all just reactionary. And it really, it happens automatically when we are forgetting. I guess if I would say it as a verb, forgetting or remembering. Remembering being a representation of being mindful. Oh, I am remembering. And forgetting would be more of an autopilot. I guess just generally speaking, sometimes I have this pervasive feeling that I need to be getting something done. I think about, this is a little side note. I was doing yoga the other day, and there were 3 packages in the room, 3 boxes. And I'm doing my downward dog, and I lift my head and neck, and I'm breathing in, and I see the slogan for 3 different boxes. One is Nike, just do it. One is Home Depot, how doers get more done. And one is Lowe's, improving home improvement. There's just the striving in that, the doing. So then I laugh to myself and I think, no wonder I always have this feeling like I need to be doing something. But sometimes I have this pervasive, subtle energy in me that I need to be doing something more than what I'm doing. But sometimes I remember that everything's perfect. That nothing needs to be different than the way it is. And when I do remember that, there's a release in my whole body. The anxiety that might be attached to the striving or the idea that I need to be different than I am, or the idea that I need to be in a different place or be better in some way. I'm reminded that I'm okay the way I am. I wrote in the poem, "We are all stardust and we are all compost." Now, I'm not an astrophysicist or an astronomer, but I know on some level we are molecularly similar to stars and to compost. That we're not all that different. And I know that when we are buried, if we are buried, we will turn to compost, just like a tree does, or leaves, or food scraps, or anything. We'll all turn to compost. We will all return to the soil, which will then give life to another plant. And that plant might be a vegetable, which provides sustenance for another human or an animal. So we're all compost. We're all stardust. We're all molecularly very similar. I don't know exactly the fact, but the genetic makeup of a human and a banana are not that different. So we're all stardust. We're all compost. And there's the interconnection of all things in that molecular fact, genetic fact. We don't have to feel it on a spiritual level. For me, it happens when I recognize it, but it is scientific. We're all the same. Sometimes I remember that. And when I remember that, I feel that connection. I feel more whole, more connected to myself, to all things. I wrote, sometimes I remember to tell the people that mean something to me that they mean something to me. I think about an episode that I wrote, I don't know, within the past year, about how the most important things to say are often the most difficult things to say. And that could be as simple as telling someone that you love them. Sometimes there are a lot of obstacles to that, and it seems so simple. But there are family dynamics to consider, or friendship dynamics, relationship dynamics that might be hard to challenge. Maybe you're not used to communicating that to someone, and it's hard to change that dynamic. But sometimes I remember that it is just that. It is a dynamic. It is a frame of mind. It is a filter. And it's not necessarily the truth. That it can change. Sometimes I remember that. So the poem for me is a reminder. So I guess maybe I'll read it again. I have to find it now that my computer closed. But I will. Bear with me while I'm scrolling. You can just take this moment. Okay. So with my reflection being said, I'll read it again. And maybe, as I referenced in the beginning, it will hit you in a different way. Or maybe it won't. Life is passing by. I often forget. Sometimes I remember. People pass. Everything passes. This I forget. Sometimes I remember. Birds dance and sing on aging branches. Children speak without filter. Winter fades and lilies claim the seasoned land. I forget all of this. I forget that there are no problems, that we are all stardust and compost. Sometimes I remember. To dance with my wife in the kitchen, to tell her I love her, to tell the people who mean something to me that they mean something to me. Sometimes I remember. So if this serves as a reminder to you, I hope that you can come back to it in times where you forget, and it can help you remember. And if you think that this would be beneficial for someone you love to hear, then please share, because that's how we can help other people know about the podcast. All right. Thanks again for listening.